After thorough testing, I recently changed my everyday OC spray to Palm Personal Defense Spray. It's nasty stuff and I recommend it highly. My only problem with situational awareness is it ignores the other parts of paying attention. That when someone says situational awareness, that's just about your situation. In order to truly pay attention, first starts with personal awareness. Who am I? What's going on in my world? What are my capabilities? What are my liabilities? So for instance, I might say, gosh, man, this right knee is really bugging me. I really can't run right now. I don't have the ability to run right now. So my ability to do that, that's a personal awareness of what's going on in me. Or maybe it's, I'm really anxious. My creep alarm is going off. Why is my creep alarm going off? Something's out of place here. Second one is environmental awareness. So what's the normals here? What's in me, on me, and around me? And is that normal? Then finally, situation. And if I have personal awareness, environmental awareness, and situational awareness, now I am paying attention. Now I know what's going on in the world. And you know where we practice this most often? It's driving cars. And we get distracted all the time, right? We kind of float back and forth. It's one of the reasons I like riding a motorcycle. When you ride a motorcycle, you cannot afford to not pay attention on a motorcycle. You will be street pizza. You have to be engaged. You can turn off most of your brain most of the time and probably make it okay in a car. And most people do. And y'all drive me nuts. Okay? But you got to pay attention, and if you don't, that's when wrecks happen, okay? So attention buys you time, time buys you options. Here's another one, out of the city of London. Now what we're going to see on this one is this is our perp. He is flying through a red light. These guys have the green going this way, but he's flying through that way. This guy right here is crossing, and he's crossing and he's not paying attention. He's on his phone. Watch what happens.
Hey, John.
Hey, yes, Sam.
Can you back up a step or two so folks on this side can see things?
No, that's their fault for choosing those seats. All right? So we're going to see him go forward here. Now look how close. Bam. See that? Now, because he wasn't paying attention, now they're going to yip at each other. Homie don't like that. He's going to get right up on him and headbutt him. Put him in the hospital. Busted his orbital bone and a tooth out of his head. Now, we can talk about all the defensive nature and all that stuff and everything that was going on there. But what precipitated that attack? If he had simply just been seeing his world and gone, whoa, and that guy goes by really fast, and now we don't do that anymore, the other part of that, controlling your ego. Because when the near accident happens, he goes, hey, buddy, watch yourself. Oh, boy, that's a challenge. That's an invitation to a fist fight. So, got to watch that. All right, number two, second one. In public places, the place for an attack is almost always what we call a transitional space. Now, I will say that in the defensive training world, as far as I know, I am the first person to use this phrase in its defensive definition. Kelly McCann used it in the 80s when he was doing SWAT clearances and stuff like that, but he used it in its architectural definition. Anybody here an architect or do architectural stuff at all? So in an architectural sense, a transitional space is when you go from one kind of environment to another kind of environment. So for instance, your entryway of your home is considered a transitional space from outside into the interior of the home. Maybe if you have a garden in the front, right, or a terrace or something, that's a transitional space. But in a defensive context, a transitional space is one where we see people transiting regularly. And really definitionally, a transitional space is a place that allows a bad guy to attack with an element of surprise and get away quickly. Easy transition in, easy transition out for the bad guy. Now, most of the time, that transition in can be cloaking themselves as a customer or another regular Joe until they decide to launch their attack. And getaway is usually because of fast egress like a store or something like that. Okay? Show you a couple of instances of this. This is out of Venezuela. This is a sidewalk cafe. See the stripe running here? That's the road stripe. So what you're seeing here is a bunch of people just enjoying their dinner. Waiter here and all that stuff. You're going to watch this two dudes roll up on a motorcycle and they are able to just launch an attack. Bang, just like that. Because you expect people to be transiting, you expect people driving on the road, you're not expecting an attack, but you're in a space where they can get in quick, get what they want, and get out quick. These guys' bad problem, what they don't recognize is this guy right here is an off-duty cop. So watch how fast he shows up with a gun and starts mugging people. Oh, geez! Nobody can run away, so he steals his phone, but this guy's a cop. He's going to go get a gun and go, hi, friend. Bangity, bangity, bang. He's actually going to get a partner who shows up here, which is kind of weird. But what I wanted you to catch out of that is this is what we call a transitional space. Now, there are plenty of places in the world that are not transitional spaces, but generally speaking, we're talking about convenience stores. They call convenience stores stop and robs for a reason. So, you show up because you're like, oh man, I need to go get gas, but I really could use a Snickers bar too. And or a cup of coffee or a pack of cigarettes or whatever it is. So then you go into the convenience store. You realize they sell you gas basically at cost to get you to go in the convenience store and buy a hot dog, right? That's where they make their money. And and when those are folks that are transiting in and out, there's usually a pretty large amount of cash and valuables there. Very common spots for attacks. Any door to the outside becomes a transitional space because you don't know where that is. Your car, when it is stopped, is a transitional space. When your car's moving, it's very safe in terms of personal defense. Ain't nobody gonna mug you while you're driving down the road at 35 miles an hour. Simple as that. Second it gets stopped at a stoplight, the second you pull into a parking lot, automatically now we've got a challenge. Okay, you got to pay attention in those places. The reason that that's the case is if you think about this, you pull into a parking spot, you're about to get out. Where's all your attention? Is your attention on what's out there in the world? Is your attention inside the car? Why is it inside the car? What are you doing? You're putting all your stuff away, you're grabbing your phone, you're maybe putting up your sunscreen or whatever, you're getting everything settled, you're grabbing your purse, so you're getting the kids out of the car, you're doing things inside the car. Do bad guys know that? Now then, you're about to go into your car. Let's just say you come out of the store and you're about to go into the car. You hit the unlock button. Are you focused now inside the car or outside the car? Why inside the car? Now you're thinking about your next move. I got to put my stuff down, all these things. Do bad guys know that? Easy place to attack you. And they've got this big valuable. You got your keys out. You realize how many carjackings happen in America every year? Carjackings are on the rise in America. You can get a car to a chop shop and in little pieces so fast it'll just make your head spin. In fact, I own a trailer, a 12-foot flatbed, and we stored it at our church for a while because everybody at church used it. It was like a community, church thing. I had a church of 150 people. Everybody used it. But it got stolen because, don't get me started. Anyways, and it got recovered 4 days later, which they said, dude, you'll never see this trailer again. But it did. 4 days later, it got recovered. Guess where it got recovered? Chop shop in South Phoenix. When I went to go get it, it was at a recovery yard. I had to pay them $100 to go get my stolen trailer, to get it out of the yard. I'm like, it's not my fault. And they were like, hey man, the cops dropped it off here. I'm like, I didn't ask them to drop it off here. Charge them. Didn't work. It had an entire front quarter of a Ford pickup truck on it. It didn't have a VIN number on it, but they chopped that truck into quarters and the last quarter of it was still on my thing. And I was like, what are you going to do with this? And they're like, that didn't get logged in, man. That's not ours. I'm like, I'm certainly not driving it home. That's somebody's stolen car. Car thieves haven't. I ended up bickering back and forth with them. I'm like, look, it's not my property. I'm going to dump it off here on the side of this road unless you want to put it somewhere else and send somebody with a forklift. You can't do that. Watch me. They did not understand how much I do what I want, Stephanie. That's a problem. All right, let's see another one. A transitional space. This one's a recent. It's out of Philadelphia. Okay, so here's our clerk right here at the bottom. Just another day at a Metro PCS. One of my big lessons is do not work at Metro PCS. They get robbed a lot. What's that?
They're like 3-0 on the channel.
Yeah. So defensive gunfights on the channel, Metro PCS employees are 3-0. So there's that part. But there's an awful lot of didn't actually have the fight, end up having to have a gun stuck in their face too. So what you're going to see right here is watch the door, okay? You're going to see this guy kind of wander in and through. The clerk is going to get the heebie-jeebies because he's paying attention. But watch how fast the attack happens. So you see him here? Watch, he sees this guy, sees something he doesn't like. Watch him go. He's like, he's going to cheat his draw. I don't like this. Dude comes in, has a gun in his hand, says, give me the money. Nope, but I give you bullets.
That guy didn't survive, did he? That was about 15 rounds at him.
He actually shot at him 15 times and hit him 13. I will tell you that every self-defense expert attorney that I asked about this went, stop, no good. The district attorney let him get away with it. DA chose not to prosecute him. Okay, I don't want to be that guy that I am, just dependent wholly upon the grace of a district attorney for that. Okay, however, that's a lesson for another time. But right now what I want you to see is the fact that this transitional space really mattered. How much time did he have to prepare for that attack? It was on its way in when the door opened. Now then, thank God he was paying attention. And yes, he was on his computer doing his thing, but he didn't let it distract him from the fact that the outside world existed. So he sees some motion. Hey, what is that? Oh, that guy gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm going to stage this. Give me your stuff. Nope. And he was ready. So he had that mental plan in place. That's pretty important. Okay?